Before traveling to your game day destination this football season, be sure to download the M.Dot Traffic app to help you reach the game safely by checking ahead for crashes, closures, and construction with M.Dot Traffic app. Available free for both Apple and Android devices.
Matt, I know rat poison and all that stuff, but 7 touchdowns today. You've got 14 touchdowns. I don't think any turnovers thus far this season. Is this the best ball you think you played in your career? And how do you get better from here?
I can name many mistakes that I made in that game, and it's just you guys don't see it because there's plays being made. But there is bigger plays that could be made if I don't make those mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So it's just keep being focused on those little things. Every little detail matters, and I think that's what's going to help us catapult in the next week.
I ask you about just your willingness to run. Lane mentioned that on your own tonight you pulled the ball down and just took off because you saw a crease.
Yeah.
I mean, just talk about that if you will.
All right. Well, it was back to back. We had the same play back to back. It was an inside zone, and the first time we ran it, they had a field blitz or not a field blitz. It was No, I want to say it was a field blitz. They brought the backer and they brought the field backer and the Mike backer, and so there was a man for me and there was a guy crashing for the back, so I had no choice but to give it. And then we ran it real quick again, and then they went into I want to say just some type of cover 3, and that safety was in the box, but he was tight in there, and he wasn't even looking at me, and that guy's responsible for me, and I know that because of the film that I've been watching. So I see him, and his eyes aren't watching for me. There's nobody for me, so I pulled it.
Matt, Lane talked a little bit about just how he doesn't like the timing of the bye week coming after you guys have played so well for 3 weeks. Just what is your expectation for what you guys are going to do this week?
Really just to have the same intensity that we had last week in practice. I think this was the best week of practice that we've ever had since we've been together for this group, and just building off of that. And now we have a standard. Now we know what it looks like. We know what it looks like to have a good week of practice. So now that's that standard right there, and we know what we're capable of, and we know that it has to go up from here. There's no other choice.
Has the word Alabama come out yet on the sideline? Or
Not one.
Not one?
Nope.
From your perspective, what have you seen in Mingo's game these past 2 weeks and the career night he had tonight? What are you seeing, maybe him taking that next step?
Just the past year, just confidence, and not only in Mingo, just everybody from Braylon. And it was just them knowing that the type of shoes that had to be filled. Our main receiver leaves, and it's like, okay, next man up. Who wants to take that number 1 spot? And they don't have an issue with everyone going for 100 yards. You know what I mean? So as long as they're all doing the details right and they're focused in on their job each play, and even the twos when they get in and they get a shot, they're ready when their number's called. So it's really having the twos ready, because I know the ones are going to be ready. We just need to work for that depth on the twos, and when their number's called, they got to be able to execute.
Lane brought up, last week you guys were up big, and there was, I guess, a miscommunication with a receiver or something, and you were kind of vocal with Lane and with the receiver about kind of the miscommunication. Lane said that was really cool, that he liked you kind of taking charge like that. Have you noticed yourself kind of being more assertive in those sorts of situations?
Most definitely, just because one, they allowed me to do that because they know the work I put in. Speaking from the coach's perspective, and honestly, last week I just felt like Coach Kiffin and just got carried away with changing the play to get a big shot, and I thought he had changed the play when we had just called the play, and then they're running goes, and I'm expecting slants, and then I'm sitting there with the ball, and I'm like, what are they doing? And then I get sacked, and that's I just what are we doing?
How'd you kill time during the delay?
Brought everyone together. Everyone was focused on watching the Alabama game. Turned the TVs off, and I was mad. Coach Love was mad. It was hectic just because we're not focused. We weren't focused. It felt like it was going to be a tough game, just because it's hard for a full unit of 80 people to be focused for this amount of time, and them not knowing when we're going to play, at what time we're going to play. So, I mean, I brought everyone together. Well, I didn't bring everyone together. I went to the defensive side, brought them together. Then I went to the offensive side, brought them together. And I just told them, like, they got the same delay as us. We got to be focused longer than they are. So, I mean, it all comes down to, not worrying about another game rather than the one that we're about to play right now. So, I mean, it was just focusing on the little things. And, when it gets a little loud in the locker room, that's not focused. There's people who are really focused and they're in their locker not saying a word because they're thinking about their keys. They're thinking about the little details. Like, that's focused. Like, you can tell when there's little chattering just going around, and that didn't sit right with me. So I just had to say something.
Jonathan, just what's kind of clicked for you these past 2 weeks? You're kind of putting up, I think tonight's a career high in yardage, but just what have you found these past 2 weeks?
Just trying to keep getting better every week. Just go out there, put my head down, getting better, and forgetting about what happened last week, and just trying to do better every week. Just keep clicking.
Just the way that the offense is played through 3 weeks, I think y'all put up something like 55 points a game, close to it. Just, did you expect it to be this good, or are you at all surprising yourself with just how many yards and points y'all are putting up?
No. I know this offense is capable of every week. We'll go out there trying to score. Like, the goal is not to score a certain amount of points, it's to score every drive. So I'm not surprised.
Jonathan, I know you guys work throughout the offseason on building chemistry, but is there such thing as game chemistry that you can only kind of get the more games that you play with Matt?
I guess you can say that, but every week we go out there and practice, try to keep the chemistry going. Cause like, you practice how you play, so we try to do it in practice so it can translate to the field.
They came back and I think they cut it to 2 scores, and they tried that onside kick, and then that very next play, Matt threw a 50-yard touchdown to you. Did that seem like a big kind of momentum moment for you guys to kind of have that big explosive play after kind of seizing the momentum from them?
Oh yeah, it was pretty big. That's something we've been trying to work on all season. Is me and him working on our deep ball, so it was good to get one to finally connected.
Just kind of looking at this game big picture, I know Tulane was coming in scoring 52 a game. Y'all held them well below half of that. Are you pleased with the way y'all played, or did you kind of see some mistakes there still?
I'm honestly not pleased. They shouldn't have had 21 points, in my opinion. We had a few plays to where we could have prevented the stuff that happened, but I'm honestly not happy with the way we played on defense.
I'll ask you about the back end of the defense, since that's where you play, but what are the areas that you guys need to shore up back there?
I feel like communication and knowing the situation of stuff that happens, because there was that one play we got picked down in the red zone when the tight end went at will. We got picked. That's knowing the situation that we could have prevented that easily. And that ball I got caught on with the post, we should have had somebody dropping back deep. So I feel like knowing the situation is going to help us a lot.
From your vantage point, how is this defense different when Jake's not out there?
Springer, Jake's actually he does add a lot of energy to the defense, but I feel like we've been doing a good job of keeping the energy up. I feel like we haven't lost. Obviously it hurts to not have him out there, but I feel like we've been doing pretty good at keeping the pace going without him out there.
Kind of big picture through 3 games, is this about what you expected the defense to be doing, or are you surprising yourself at all? Are you a little disappointed based on expectations? Just where is the defense in your mind?
I always think there's room for improvement. I think we've been doing good so far, but I always think there's room for improvement.
You guys gave up 21 in the first half, nothing in the second half. What was the message at halftime? What adjustments did y'all make?
We just said we gotta keep our foot on their neck. We couldn't come out and let them come back into the game like they did against Oklahoma. So we just told ourselves that we can't let them back in the game.
We had a couple offensive guys in here, and we asked them how they kind of handled the delays and whatnot. How did that affect you guys defensively? Was it hard to kind of keep the energy up when not knowing when exactly you guys were going to actually play? Like, how do you guys kind of handle that?
For me, I honestly was just sitting in my locker chilling. It was kind of annoying not being able to play at the time, but I don't think it was any different from playing at the normal time to being pushed back that much time.
Just your thoughts on the bye week coming this soon in the season. Do you kind of want to keep playing at this point, or do you think the 2 weeks to prepare for Alabama is kind of good?
I honestly think that's going to be big for us to prepare mentally for what we have to do in the next week coming after that. So, yeah, I feel like the bye week is going to help us a lot to be mentally prepared for that game coming up.
Obviously, there's a big difference in defensive stats coming into this year, but how does it feel when you're going into a game knowing that Springer's not going to be able to be there, but there's guys like Tysheem Johnson, true freshmen who can immediately come in and make an impact and change the course of the game?
Yeah, that's a big thing that we had it comfortable with going into this season. We had a lot more depth than we had in previous years. Knowing that we got guys that can step up in the roles to play when we have a guy down, it's definitely a big thing for us.